So this is a very special program, specially curated by our founders. We are very excited for all the students to go through this journey to discover and explore so many projects in design, architecture, and fashion. This is to help them understand which fields would they be interested in within the three disciplines. And now I would like to welcome Sean sir on stage to address you all and deep dive into design. Over to Sean, sir.
Yeah, good morning, everyone. So nice to see all of you all in large numbers. And this is something very different, very unique. It's careers that you've probably known. So all of you all obviously pretty knowledgeable. Everybody comes here with some degree of knowledge. There's one question I want to ask you. So what's the favorite food of a bear? What's the favorite food of a bear? Fish? Okay. What else? What else? Sorry? Honey? Okay. What else do bears like to eat? What's the favorite food of a bear? Yes. Berries. Okay, good. Anything else? Anything else? Sorry? Meat, deer. Yeah, okay. Deer, animals. Yes, bears also like to, bears, yeah, they eat anything, I guess, when they're hungry. Yes, of course, fish. Anything else? Anything else you think bears like to eat? Human beings, yes, of course. Right? If you go there and, yeah, you think you're invincible, you too will get eaten. Yes, of course. Do you think bears like to eat biryani? Biryani is their favorite food? No? You don't think so? No, never heard of it? A bear eating biryani? No, no. Okay, fine. What is this? Stegosaurus? Very good. Very good. Excellent. What happens if you cross a Stegosaurus and a Lego brick? What do you get? A Legosaurus. Excellent. Right? I mean, yes. Brilliant. What do you see here? A dog, right? How many of you all have played this game? You know, when you can look at these clouds and you can see a dragon, you can see a rabbit, you can see some ice cream, you can see all sorts of things, right? Okay. So, basically, see, our mind has two parts, okay? One is a very logical side, and one is a very abstract side, a subjective side, okay? So when I say logical side, if I say 2 plus 2.1, it is 4.1. That's it, right? It cannot be 4.2, it cannot be 4. It's a very accurate answer. But if I ask you, which biryani is the best? Which is your favorite biryani? You may say Imperial, you may say Beros. Each one will say different things, right? So the one will say, no, this biryani is good. The other person will say, that biryani is good. So it becomes subjective. You understand? Subjective means it has multiple answers. You're also right, you're also right. You understand, right? So what happens when we go into the subjective world? Fuzzy logic. You understand, right? Abstract. And how do we merge the subjective world along with logic to come out with new things, to come out with innovation, right? So let's go ahead. Now, these, when you look at something and you say, oh, I can see a face, I can see a cloud, I can see something. Sometimes you look at these patterns and they say, oh, they look like something, okay? There is actually a word to it, okay? The word is called apophenia, okay? You would not have heard of these words, but actually there's a term for it, okay, called apophenia. What is apophenia? Apophenia is connecting absolutely unrelated things and making something meaningful out of it. Correct? Now, apophenia comes in different types. Apophenia can be words. for example, a dad joke. Okay, you know dad jokes, right? I'll be back, right? Okay, so it's just connecting absolutely unrelated things, but making something meaningful. I mean, some sort of a connection, right? It's like biryani, that's an example, or those things. Now, basically, can you all give me an example for apophenia or some connecting some things? Can you give me an example, anybody? Can you give me an example? Can you see? Can you all see? Do you want to come this side? Come, you sit here. Come, sit here, sit here. Sit there, because you'll not be able to see. Come, go sit there. Can you give me an example? Yes? Okay, the rising sun. Yes, okay, okay. Anything else? Any more connections? Okay, sorry. Okay, any other connections? Any other connections you can see? Absolutely unrelated connections that we make some connections for. What about constellations, star constellations? You draw star, they're just dots in the sky. But we draw them and we make constellations out of it, right? I mean, that is also, examples for this, basically. Okay, now it can be data. So you can even, so it's words. So we say, oh, he's a humorous person. He's a witty person. You say something, he'll connect something because he's able to connect words. He's able to connect data. Or there's also a sound and visual part to it also. So the visual subset of apophenia is called pareidolia. Okay, so we are looking at things and connecting the dots. And you see this a lot in, especially children. They will look and say, oh, this looks like that, this looks like an A, this looks like, things like that. But it is basically something in our minds that works all the time. So typical examples when we look at all these kind of visuals that's what kind of makes some sort of abstract sense to us. Now, say for example, application of this, an example. This is a student's drawing, and you will see like a lamppost, and so the student has drawn somebody on a swing on that lamppost. You get what I'm saying, right? So again, just a connection in which you use for graphic. Okay, so among y'all, how many students do this all the time? Draw on your hand, draw on your notebook, textbooks. Your work is full of that, yeah? Most of y'all, yes. In fact, the pictures I've actually clicked here is actually the students. Okay, I'll see them drawing on their hands and I'll click one picture like that. Okay. So what I see some parents, some teachers getting upset and angry. Students draw like this and they try to erase them. Don't erase them. In fact, the other way around is you should scan them and keep them. You understand, right? It's meaningful. It's very meaningful to people like us. See. Things were different in the past. Things were different in, say, the parents' times, 80s, 70s, 80s, 90s. Things were very different, right? The opportunity, the skill that we had was different then. It's different now. Design was like, I come across many parents who say, oh, there is nobody in the family who's in this career. We have no idea about this. Of course, because it was not there, right? It was just not that it was not there, it was not there in India. I mean, there was design, but it was happening in Europe. It was innovation, design, happening in Europe, happening in the US, right? But now, and then, of course, during the 90s and early 2000s, we do more of support work. There's a chair here, there's a chair here, there's a chair there. We do more of support work. That means all the design that's happening out there, but we are doing more of the building, right? The building, all the mental work, the thinking work has been done outside, and we are just only doing the manual work of building, whether it's software or even engineering. But things are changing, and there's a lot of design and development both happening out here, okay? Typical example, like say for example, I'm from the car industry. So typical example would be like, say a sedan, maybe say a simple sedan over here would be possibly a luxury car, but maybe if you go to US, it'll be a very ordinary car. So in the US, it's driver, the owner drives. Here it can be the owner sitting at the back also with the driver. So it depends on what segment it is. In India, we have, so therefore when you design and you make accessories, you need to make sure that the accessories are at the back, more for the comfort of the owner who sits at the back. Things like that, which are a little sensitive to different locations. So therefore, always, number one, that, and number two is, of course, but that's not the main reason. The main reason is there is a lot of talent in India, and it is just a matter of time where the whole design and development happens in India itself. A perfect example you all can see, especially the older generation, the change in the design of, say, Mahindra. So Mahindra itself, I mean, what was Mahindra in the past? And look at the vehicles they're coming out with today, like lovely front-end design. In fact, Mahindra has bought Pininfarina. Have you all heard of Pininfarina? Pininfarina is the design house for Ferrari. It's owned by Mahindra. They bought it. So you can imagine, that's why you're seeing all that wonderful design that's coming into the products of Mahindra. So what does it relate to? It basically relates to direct sales, right? So sometimes there are two things. One is you just look at it and you say, oh wow, I want to buy that. Or you want to buy it sometime. So why you buy something that attracts you towards it, the design. That's the way it is. And that's the value design adds. Yes, I like this. Okay, what is this? Can you describe what you see? A bull? Okay. Can you describe more about the bull? What? Okay. What else can you see about this? What's the other things you can see? It's big, it's strong, it's got muscles, it's got little fur, right? It's sort of reddish in color, right? Now, can you imagine, you're getting so much of information from this, somebody who has written this message, an SMS, 20,000, 30,000 years ago, right? They don't even speak the same language as you, but the message has passed on through time, right? The power of visual messages, right? Or even if you look at this, what does it say? Go left, right? So it doesn't matter what language. You put this in Japan, you put this in Africa, you put it anywhere, it doesn't matter. It's the language that will just show you. In fact, 80% of communication is non-verbal communication, right? So you can just make out and you can understand what people are trying to say. Okay, this is an interesting question. Am I creative? How many people here think, okay, you know what, my son, my daughter is creative, my wife is creative, but I'm not creative. How many of you all say, I'm not creative? Anyone? No, you're not creative? Okay. You're not creative. Okay, you say you're not a creative person. Okay. Do you know when one of the first times you actually learned to be very creative? Do you know when? When you're small, when you're 5 years old, 6 years old, when you tell a lie. Right? You're being creative, right? There was no homework in school today. My teacher was sick, or whatever it is. Means you have to make that other person believe you. So you're coming up with some creative idea. So, or let's say, for example, you have some guests over and you're trying to make something and you don't have some ingredients, right? And you say, oh, I don't have this. Okay, chill, let me manage with what I have and do something. So you're being creative, right? So again, creativity is misunderstood. Creativity is, we think that, it's only for artists and drawing and all that. No, creativity is in everything, right? Even an accountant, a lawyer, a chartered accountant is being creative within the law, how best he can help you reduce your taxes, right? Or surgeons can be creative, right? As to what do you call it? Non-invasive non-invasive, microscopic. I know he's a doctor. So non-invasive surgery. You got to be creative there as well. So you're creative in everything, right? Creativity is part of all of us. The only difference is we use creativity on different levels, depending on our work, right? So some is more logical oriented, some is more creative oriented. But the difference between an innovator or someone who invents something and the person who's, so a person can be knowledgeable, but a person who innovates is going beyond just that knowledge because they're able to see things or observe things that others cannot see. You understand? It could be the simplest of things. And they're seeing, they're observing, and they're using the knowledge that they have to take things to another level, to discover things, to invent things. Otherwise, it just is the same thing over and over again, right? Observation is a very, very powerful tool, a very simple, a very basic tool that is extremely used by innovators, people who, and also designers. And all these tools, right, what I'm talking about, they can be trained, you can be made aware of it, and you can train your mind to do it. I'll give you an example. A pencil, right? So can you give me different ways of using a pencil other than writing? Can you give me a pencil from there? Other than writing, other than drawing, what are the different ways you can use a pencil? Yes. Very good. Yes. Bun. Yes. What else? Fencing. Okay. Anything else? Sorry? Very good. In fact, some hotels, they put a pencil there, yeah, with a 3-pin plug, and the pencil is already there ready for you, right? All of us use, thank you. All of us use it all the time. What else do we use a pencil for? Okay, you're bored, a little bit of a stress buster. This is really nice. I like this. Okay, how many of you have used that? You know, your chips packet and all that. You've opened it with a pencil. Yeah, very good. Yes. Sorry. Carving purposes. Sorry. Spin and play. A little bit of a measurement. Yes, measurement. Rough measurement. Hairpin. Yes. You can scratch your back, scratch your hair, poke somebody. Dig your nose, ears. It can. No, let's say, for example, I go to schools and they say, put it up your nose, and they're like, oh, you know, they go like that. But, see, this is observing, right? See, in fact, actually, if you think about it, the pencil is used in so many hundreds of ways other than drawing or writing, right? So why I say all this is because now when you have with small children, it can lead to medical issues, emergencies. You'll have children with the small whistles that they'll put up their nose and their ears, they swallow. In fact, that's why many people have many companies have changed the design of things. Like if you see a pen top, it has holes on the top. So even if a child swallows, they can still breathe. The Lego miniature heads, minifigure heads, has got those holes on top. So even if it's swallowed, it can breathe. So these are the observations that we need to do to see what, the different uses of an object, right? Another simple thing is a bed sheet, simple house bed sheet. Can you give me different uses for that? Anybody? To tie something? Yoga? Yoga mat. Yoga mat, yes, okay. Don't have a curtain, yes. Yes. You'll see that very common on the roadside, even they'll put on a tree, they'll hang as a cradle. And every day you'll see dobies putting all the clothes in that, things like that. So we use these things for different ways. So observing the obvious. So it's so obvious, we don't see it, but it's actually the people who see this and do the simplest of things, like just in your phone, swipe, zoom, You know, all the simple things makes things so easy. In fact, who actually, we are all used to the old DOS Windows, that green screen. I mean, you all, of course, would never have seen it, but who actually made the user interface that we have today, clickable interface common? Who do we give credit for? Sorry? Yeah, very good. That's the correct. Actually, the one who developed it was Xerox, the company Xerox. Because Xerox was making so much of money, photocopying machines in the 60s, 70s. They were like absolute dominant players. They had so much of money, so they just had like a lab, like an MIT Media Lab, just experiment, do whatever you want. And in that lab, they came out with two things. One is the interface, second is a mouse. So they showed the mouse to the board, and board were all people, and they're laughing. What is this mouse? They did not understand, right? In fact, who visited the lab? Steve Jobs. He saw it and he connected the dots. It's a person who connects the dots. He realized, oh my God, this can be used for this. You understand, right? And he took it out. So literally, yes, of course, having something is different. Connecting the dots and bringing it to life is different. So of course, you've got to give credit to everybody, all of them, right? Yeah. So creativity comes in different ways, not just art, in performance art, music, storytelling. Even if you have to tell a story, like I said, if you want to tell a lie, or if you're writing a novel or a poem, right? You are being imaginative. You're creating a world. You're creating characters. Technically, you're being God there, right? You make people alive. You can kill people. You can do whatever you want. But it's your imagination. So, and here's the thing. Now, this is an important part. So is all this artwork that we see, is it just a hobby, or what is the connection between this skill and the industry, and what value does it add, right? So is it just a hobby, or am I desperately needed? Now that's an important work. That means if the company does not hire a creative person, then the company will not go too far. So when you reach a situation like that, then they will go all out to look for people like you. They will go all out to hire good people. Okay, is the point I'm trying to make. Okay, can you play that video? So let's just have a look at a small video. Okay, just have a look at this video. So if you see, no matter what car you see on the road today, it always starts off with a sketch, right? Somebody has to draw the car. right? So typically what happens is the cars are all being designed abroad and all the development happens here. But things are changing where even development, even design is happening here itself. So everybody, when you think of a car, you think, oh, it's highly technical, you need only engineers. But of course, to make any company successful, you need, obviously, everybody needs to work together. You need engineers, you need sales, you need marketing, you need operations, you need everyone. But design is also a very key role of it because design even comes even before engineering, right? And so it doesn't matter, let's say, for example, a technical person who's possibly got rank 1 for IIT JEE, he can't draw a car, right, if you give him a piece of paper. So this is a different skill. This is a skill that some of the students have and others just can't, you can't replicate. So this is, I'm just showing you a small example of, generally the small example here applies to all kind of industrial design, product design, and even it goes even into software design. Like say, for example, if you're seeing software, there's front end, there's back end, and a lot of, yes, of course, because all we see is the front end, and that's all we're clicking on, right? Of course, there's a lot of, you touch anything, and there's a lot of programs that run and accessing a lot of database on the back end, but the front end, there's a lot of designers that work along with the software programmers. Do they need to know software programming? No, they don't. But they need to be on the creative side of this. So I won't spend too much of time because there's lots we need to do today, right? And this is just a simple basic introduction as to the value the designers add to the company, to companies. It's a lot more than you think. For example, the range is like Borosil glass, or even the medical industry hires designers. You can't think like Johnson & Johnson, Boston Scientific. I'm talking about doing work here in India. I'm not talking about abroad. I'm talking about design centers in India where we know people working there. So McKinsey also has a team of designers because when they do projects, they also need a team of designers to get their opinion on a product launching into a new area, into a new segment. So the scope is far more than you think is what I wanted to show you all today. We will go on to the next section of this talk. And you can have all your questions and you all can ask us in the end, okay? Fine. So we'll go to the next section. Yeah.
Okay. Thank you so much, Sean, sir, for that insightful session. It was very interesting to hear everyone's thoughts and perspective on how a pencil can be used in different ways. So for the next session, we have it from our founder, Umesh sir. He'll be doing some exercises also with you. So can I please have Umesh sir on stage?
Oh, just FYI, you see this land, the project that was happening out here. Actually, Umesh did work on that. He worked for Jaguar Land Rover, so he was part of this project. He did a mini development of the interiors there as well. Before he left the UK and came full-time to India. So, I mean, since it's up there, I thought, let me tell you. So Umesh and me were classmates. We worked in GM together, and we were both classmates in Delhi. And we both have a lot of automotive experience in design.
Yeah, thank you, Sean. And thank you all the parents and the students and their families and the siblings for coming over for this orientation. Really excited to see all of you. As Sean has said, that the design and the designers are very much relevant in the industry now. And they have something what other professionals do not offer. All right? So for example, we know doctor. What does doctor do? He heals patients. Okay, what does engineers do? They solve engineering problems, right? So what does designers do? Can anybody try? What designers do? Yes, of course, help engineers and doctors, but beyond that, they do much more. Help visualize the end. That can be done by artists as well. So, yes, they solve problems. What problems?
Like they create solutions in real life applications to minimize or solve problems.
All right, okay. So, solve problems in the sense can they solve mathematical problems? No, solving problems. So, we've got to be very specific here. You can go to slide all about design, okay? Yeah, sorry. Um, they create problems? No. Okay. In fact, they identify problems which people do not identify generally. Okay, we begin with identifying problem, all right? But I'm looking for a specific answer. What does designers do? Usability, user experience is just a small, tiny part of it. Yes?
Create the design which is like the foundation of any project if it's in any field.
All right, they create design solutions. All right, ma'am? Which can be scaled, yes. Okay, okay. So all these are around the main answer, okay, but I'm still looking for somebody who can hit the nail.
I'll give a try.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
So maybe if you have some end goal in mind,
End goal in mind, yes.
so you visualize the blueprint of it
Okay.
and put it on the paper or some way so that and you share that thoughts with the others. Okay.
Yes.
That could be one way to look at it.
Yes,
In
yes.
this particular case,
Right.
drawer was an example, for example.
Right, right,
So
right.
somebody visualized the blueprint
Okay,
and he thought I have to make a car.
okay.
Okay. And then probably then it be forward by the engineer person.
Right, right. So, but this is a generic structure for achieving anything. Like, for example, a sports person wants to achieve an Olympic medal, that's his vision, okay, and then he does all the activities to achieve that vision. But what is that designers are achieving? Creating ideas? Unique IP, intellectual property that can be done by engineers, financial professionals, accountants, anybody can do that. Yes, implementing the ideas. So let us say I have an idea for example, the DEP program. I'm implementing. Is this the job of a designer or a marketer? All right. So somebody has raised their hands at the back. Yeah. Oh yes, yes. Ideation. Okay, so ideation is a small specific part of the entire thing what a designer does. Yes. Imagining the solution. All right, okay. So let us say there is no sugar at home and I have to prepare a sweet dish. Is it possible? It's possible. So I'm imagining a solution. So is this the job of a designer? All right, so yes. What is that? Wow. All right, so I like that word empathize. That is very, very crucial in the field of design. Okay? Just to make the process easy, what I'm going to tell what designers do. Okay? At the core, what they do. Okay? At the periphery, you may see that, okay, they are creating some beautiful looking products, nicely working functional products, creating value to the companies and etc., etc. This is all at the surface level. At the core, what designers do is solve people problems. Not science problems, not mathematics problems, no, it is people problems. ultimately it comes to the person that we are all are. They focus on people, problems, and solve them. Now, how do they focus on people problems? Through empathy. Right? Let us say, does any other profession exercise empathy? Nursing? Medical professionals are not to empathize with the patient. What will happen if they empathize with the patient? Can a doctor operate on his son or a daughter? It's very difficult, right? In fact, they have to de-empathize themselves when they're treating with the patients, right? So if you go to an emergency, okay, and you can see a patient screaming, okay, as a normal person, you will be like, okay, why are you, I mean, the doctors are all around, they're trying to help him out, I mean, fix certain things, but the patient is screaming out of his heart, and if you are a relative or a parent or somebody associated, you will say, hey, please stop. Would you say, please stop? You would not say, please stop. You will say, please continue doing whatever you're doing. You fix the problem and it can be solved. So at certain places, empathy would not work. But for a designer, empathy is the core. Okay, so whatever we do, we first of all empathize and then try to solve the situation. So let us quickly go through the crucial parts. Okay, so I'm skipping all of this. I'm hoping you all know who we are. Right? Okay, so can you enlarge that? Yeah. So whenever we are talking about design or designers, three things come into play. In fact, there is another thing. I think I need to update my presentation. Art, craft, design are the three things. There's a fourth thing that comes into our mind, which is AI. Yeah, AI. So I'm going to touch upon that as well. But let us all understand what art, craft, and design are so that our understanding is clear. Okay, because I'm guessing that most of the students here, they are exploring design as a probable career. So you got to understand what design is, how is it different from art and craft, and as a designer, what is your contribution? Okay, so let us go to the next slide. It is always better to have a common understanding based on the language that is used across the dictionaries, right? So because otherwise, for me, art is something, for you, art is something. Both are right. Okay, but what is correct? So it's basically an expression or an application of human creative skill and imagination. Art is a creative expression. Okay, I'm going to show some examples to help you understand the difference as well. Okay, so art, generally people think that it's like a painting or sketching and etc. Art need not be limited to the visual art. It can be through the dance form, through music. All these are arts. Okay, okay, next. The craft is an activity involving skill in making things by hand. So any three-dimensional things that you are doing is craft. All right. Okay. So we'll delve something more further. Okay. And then design is a plan or a drawing produced to show the look and function of workings of a building, garment, or any other object. Okay. Now there is a very stark difference. Even though they look similar, there is a stark difference, and I'm going to show you practically what the difference is to, taking an object. Yeah. All right. So we have the entire range of things, everything oriented about time. Okay? Does this represent time? Do you know the famous artist who painted this? Salvador Dali. Okay? So he has represented art of time in his own means through a surreal expression. So basically he has shown the clocks melting. So that is his way of representing time through art. And I'm sure you all must be having some way of representing art in your own time, in your own means. Okay? So this is art. Now, how many pieces are there in the world of art, of this particular piece? The original is only one. Okay? So any creation that you have done, expressing your own feelings and emotions and etc., they are unique. They're single pieces. Okay. Now let us take this craft. This is a cuckoo clock, right? So this is something which is made by hand. And how many pieces do you think these cuckoo clocks will be? Thousands, maybe hundreds of thousands. Okay? So one piece, 100,000 pieces. Now, you see this Ajanta clock, very famous. I guess everybody would have had this clock in their home, right? So it also shows time, but this is more accessible. You can buy it, and you can have it, and it solves the problem, right? And how many pieces do you think this clock will be, this design? Millions. All right, so there can be millions of pieces. So this is the product of design. And then can you guess what this product is? What does it show? It has hands and it is showing, indicating time. Okay? Now, here we are adding a layer of a tangible aspect, which is experience. Right? So this also shows time, but let us say you have these two clocks on your wall and somebody comes to your home. Okay, which would be the talking point? This piece. They'll be curious, they'll be asking you, what is this? What does it do? Right, so it is a conversation starter. So this is the range of creations, what people can do, starting with one-off piece to millions of pieces. Okay? Now this is the value what design adds. It not only solves the people problems through a practical and aesthetic looking solution, it adds a layer of experience to the product. And when you as designers are going into the design school and learning and coming out to the industry, you should be able to create something like this. This is outdated. There are hundreds of companies who are producing this. Okay, what value you can add as a designer is taking the regular product into a different layer of experience. All right, next please. So just another example, quick example for all of us to understand what designers can do, what contribution can designers do. We all recognize this. It's a lemon squeezer. How much does it cost? 100 rupees. What is the material? Steel. Okay, next. Yeah, so it's a lemon squeezer, okay. What is this? Orange squeezer. Okay, any other thoughts? Like an alien, all right. Is it a lemon squeezer or something else? Sorry? It's a whisk. It's a whisk. All right. So somebody said it's a head massager as well. I mean, it's quite possible, right? It's a possible thing. Okay, but let us understand from the contextual perspective. Okay? Yeah, so it's a lemon squeezer or an orange squeezer. Okay, now this is designed by a very famous designer, right? Next. So this, can you guess the cost price of this particular product on Amazon, eBay? Any guesses? Sorry? 900? Huh? 500. Oh, sorry, 900. Okay, 500. Okay. 1,100 bidding. Yes, please. Please increase your bidding. $100. Okay. Even more. $5,000. All right, cool. So on Amazon, this is being sold for 20,000 rupees. Right? I mean, why it is, see, it is the same material, right? It is steel and steel. It does the same thing. But what is that, what is that adding value to the product that the customer is willing to pay 20,000 rupees to buy? Huh? Unique design, unique experience, better usage, Yeah, clean usage. Show off. Absolutely, yes. Show off, absolutely. I mean, why not? I mean, you can get a four-wheeler for 3 lakh rupees and also 3 crore rupees. Why? I mean, you can buy 3 lakh rupees also, right? So why people buy 3 crore rupees? Because they call it as flex, right? The Gen Z words, yeah. Okay, so this is designed by Philip Stark. Okay, so he's a very famous designer. And whatever work he does is all little different. You can't expect, you don't think, and it's beyond your thinking. Okay? And it is not easy that you can get that kind of an ideas. All right? But at the same time, it is not difficult as well. The only difficulty is that to be free from the judgment. That, okay, I'm doing something like this. If somebody sees, they will laugh at me. All right? You have to come out of that fear. So which is called as creative confidence. Right? You got to build a creative confidence. Now, that is very much required in the program that you're all attending. Right? Because we will be asking you to do certain crazy, crazy things, and you do them, and you go back to home, and they see your father and mother will see at it and say, hey, why are you wasting your time here? Right? So this is a kind of an exposure for the parents and the family as well, because we are pushing the limits of the thinking of the students. We are saying, hey, don't bound yourself about practicality and all that. At this point of time, think beyond what you can do. Okay, because that is what is required in the industry. Okay, if you create mediocre product, then I mean your sales will also be mediocre. All right? Anyway, so we'll go to the next slide. Okay, a shoe, right? So we all use shoes, different shoes, and etc. Now, what does a shoe does? What does a shoe do? It protects the feet. Can it do something more? Sorry? Style statement, yes. Can it do something more? Can be used as a weapon. It makes you play. It makes you run. Adds more comfort. Absolutely. Okay? Sorry? Makes you tall. Yes, absolutely, yes. So let us see if it can add a different layer of experience. Right? So a regular product have little IoT stuff in it, which can measure the number of steps you have taken, how much energy that you expended, and etc., and send it to the person, so that he gets layers of data that can help him to either walk more or walk less. Keep him fit. Right? So when we are thinking about design, it's not just about the physical product, but it is beyond that. So all these products and services that are being designed at this point of time, okay, because the design has also evolved over the years. It has matured, right? Now we are just not looking into satisfying level 1 needs. We are also looking at level 2, level 3, level 4. Okay? Yes. And not just the products, but also system level servicing. Okay, so if you take a context of medical field, okay, there are hospitals and there are patients. There are patients and hospitals and the doctor. But what we do not see is so many other organizations and vendors that are associated with patient, doctor, and hospitals. The whole idea of having this ecosystem is to help the patient. To help the patient recover fast, quickly, with least cost. Right? For that, there are so many people that are associated with the primary stakeholder. Right? And they also have so many issues to solve. Okay, for example, the medical device manufacturer is basically thinking, okay, how I can give a comfortable, affordable product to my patient or a doctor. Okay, so there is this nice example. You all know about the MRI machines, right? MRI machines, okay? I'm not sure if you had the experience of an MRI machine, but it's a crazy experience, okay? Especially if somebody is claustrophobic, like me, we will never go inside, okay? We have to be sedated to be taken inside. Okay, for those who do not understand what MRI machine is, okay? So you are So basically, it is an equipment which helps to scan your body thoroughly, okay, and give certain data to the doctors so that they can identify what the problem is without any invasive procedures, okay? So for that, what you have to do is they'll be given you a small bed. You have to sleep on the bed, not move, okay? So far, so good, okay? And then what they do is they keep a helmet on your face so that you don't move your head. Okay, that is also okay. And then what they do is they pass you through some kind of a 6 feet wide tunnel. It's a very tiny tunnel. Okay? That seems all right. And then later, you get these sounds, horrible sounds, machinery sounds, as if you are flowing through some spaceship or somewhere. Right? All sounds from all directions, you have no clue what's happening. On top of that, there is no person in the room. And the doctors are behind the glass screen. Right? So this is what MRI machine is. Right? So of course, there are designers who are also involved in it. But imagine you put a small child through this experience. Do you think it is possible? Can they sustain this experience? It will be very traumatic for them. So what a designer has done is he has basically changed the entire experience. He has designed the, I don't have the slide with me, but he has designed the MRI scanning room and the machine to depict a pirate ship. And then the story the nurses tell the kid is that now you are a pirate. You are entering into the ship. You should not move. There'll be a lot of sounds and etc. happening, but you should not move. Right? So if you come out like that without moving, then you win. And then the kids are all excited. And they're going, coming, and they're asking, can I go again? So this is the experience what designers can add into a product and completely transform. All right? Okay. So this is the bigger picture of what design is and what designers do. Okay? So we have this built world and then we have the natural world. Who is the alien here? The built world is the alien, right? So we have basically building whatever we want and we are not caring for the environment. Okay, but there is a change in the people's mind, not only in the people's mind, but also in the government's mind. There are so many government organizations, and governments itself, they are saying, hey, we are very far apart from the natural world, and so many things that are happening in our world, in our countries, is because there is an imbalance between the natural world and the built environment, and they are making measures to get built world as close as possible to the natural world. For this, they have to change at the policy level. Okay, so for example, Sweden has made a policy change saying that going forward, we will use only renewable energy for all the electrical purposes. That's a big decision, right? Because all the power plants and coal and etc., we are not using them, oil, we are not using them. We are only using the natural resources, right? So, in fact, UAE is the first government in the world to employ designers at a policy level to help them design the policies. Because what is the purpose of these policies? The policies are for the books. The policies are for the people. Ultimately, whatever policy you create, it should be usable and implementable by the people. Now, how do you understand? So, can a financial advisor, can a marketing person, can a sociologist, can any one of them help us to create those policies in a way people can accept? It's a little difficult. So they have employed designers, right? So what is happening is, of course, we all know that designers do product design, communication design, environmental design. But what we are not aware is there is design for service, design for social innovation, and transition design. These are the areas which are upcoming. And if a designer can go beyond his skills, he can enter into this realm of these complex design solutions, like design problem solving. All right? Okay. So what designers do, I hope we all know now, they solve people problems with delightful solutions for products and services. Okay, now this has to go into core of your heart because it's very important. I'll tell you why. When you go to a design school, okay, you choose a different design discipline, right? Okay, so some of you want to become architects, animators, fashion designer, automotive designer, etc., etc. Okay, so when you go to a design school, you choose one of these entry levels, right? Okay, and then when then you're taught about the skills, systems thinking, strategy in the school level, and then the core is basically the design methodology and processes. You're taught how to empathize, how to find out problems, how to solve them, how to get the insights, and etc., etc. Basically, the core is empathy. All right. Now, when you go to the industry, all right, so no matter which design discipline you take, what happens in the industry is, as a fresher, you are employed for your skills. Right? You all agree? We are all employed for the skills, right? And what happens also in the industry, there is a wave, right? So certain disciplines, they require more people, and certain disciplines may not require so many people, and etc., etc. So currently, if you see into the market, there is a lot of opportunities for UI UX designers. Okay, so no matter which design discipline that you take up, okay, there are two kinds of career growths, right? So one is the traditional way, and other is the high career growths. High growth career is basically where there is a lot of industry pull happening. We want UI UX designers at this point of time. Maybe in the future we may require XR designers, and in the future we may require somebody else. Okay, so the point I'm trying to make is, number one, no matter where you are, you have to make your skills and yourself relevant to the industry. Then you would not find any problem in finding a job. Right? 20 years ago, there's a lot of need for C++ coders. Okay? And now, do we require C++ coders? No. And if they say that, no, this is what I love, this is what I do, I can stay all night and I enjoy doing this, and etc., are they relevant to the industry? No, they have to evolve themselves. They have to upgrade the necessary skills. And if they had gone through Java or Python, they'll be in great demand now. So the same thing applies for design as well. No matter where you enter, you have to make yourself relevant so that you are in good demand, number one. Don't just hover around the skills. You go deeper. Develop your systems thinking. Develop your strategic thinking. Because that is where, once you go, you will never be out of demand. Okay, because going here means that you need to gain tremendous amount of experience. But let us say, right now, let us say, Figma has a great demand. Figma, we want Figma designers and etc., etc. Okay, you're good in Figma, let us say, you get job. And then you say, okay, you're progressing in your career, learning Figma, implementing Figma, and etc., etc. What happens after certain years? You will feel stagnant, and you will say, why I'm not growing? Right? So here it is very clear. In design, you develop your skills, and then you go into little complex thinking. Okay? And then you go into the strategy thinking. Why the strategic thinking is required? For example, Samsung. Okay? What strategic design thinking can help for Samsung is that they understand the current scenario of the people, their needs, and they will also understand the socio-economical, technological developments that is happening in the future, let us say 5 years or 10 years from now, and then they extrapolate what's going to happen 5 years, 10 years from now. And then they will see the gap, what people want. And then they suggest those products and services to the company. And the company will be very happy. Because a marketing professional, what does he say? Hey, Panasonic has maybe a phone with 2 cameras, so we need to have a phone with 5 cameras. Right? They start comparing. But what designers do? They go beyond the comparison. They actually go to understand, empathize with the people and their problems and solve them. All right? Okay, let's move forward. So let us understand the deep. I hope you all are on the same page along with me that you need to have some little crazy thinking when you are doing designs, okay? So in the DEP program, we'll be focusing on those aspects, okay, in multiple ways, okay? Yeah. So there are 4 steps for the DEP program. The first is the orientation that we are all attending, okay? And then the students will attend either the summer sessions or the 8 Sunday sessions. So we also have a weekend program. Those who are not able to come for summer program, they attend the 8 Sundays program. Or those who are attending the summer program and they are missing some classes because of the traveling and etc., they can also catch up by attending the Sunday sessions, okay? And we have 15 projects. I'll explain you what all projects that we'll be working on. Okay, and they'll be completing 15 projects and they'll be compiling a nice presentation. All right, in a Canva document. So I'll also explain what all you have to include in that. And then you'll be booking a review session either with me or Sean. So we will be reviewing your work personally along with your parents, and we'll be identifying certain areas where you are naturally good at, you have that hidden talent, okay? And parents can also witness how passionate the student is while making certain, solving certain projects. And the student themselves can realize where they are good at. So we have been doing this program since quite some time, and what we generally see is the students come and say that, hey, I want to become a shoe designer. Okay? And they say, no, I want to become only shoe designer. Transportation, no, 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 no. Architecture, no. Fashion, no. Only shoe designer. So it becomes a big challenge for us to kind of open up the thought process saying that, hey, no matter which design discipline you're choosing, at the core, you're trying to solve people problems. Right? As a footwear designer, you're focusing on the problems of the foot. Right? As a fashion designer, you're trying to understand the needs of the people and their clothing. Right? So as a designer, one need to have an open mindset. Okay, so I'm sure some students might be having some opinions on certain fields and not having some opinions on certain fields, but come here with an open mind, because you can surprise yourselves what you can deliver and what you can do. Okay, so we have the review session with myself and Sean, and then we have a convocation where we pick one of your best works and we develop it graphically, and that work goes into your certificate. So that will be the completion of the entire program. These are the 4 steps we are going to follow, whether you are doing the Sunday program or the summer program. All right? Okay. So these are the 15 hands-on projects related to architecture, fashion, and design. All right? Such that you get a fantastic experience of working hands-on on all these design disciplines. Okay? Next. So what we do in each of these projects is we'll give you some design discipline exposure. We also have some content. We will be giving that to the students, and we'll also recommend certain documentaries to be watched. Okay, so by doing all that, they gain nice exposure about the discipline. And we take up each of these 15 projects and we apply a methodology called as CUP56. I'm going to explain you on that. And then they generate 30 ideas and refine your favorable idea. So these are the steps that we take up in various projects. Okay. Now this 30 ideas is a very interesting thing. Okay, see, I was an architect. I was trained as an architect. Okay, my bachelor's was in architecture. So any architects here? All right, awesome. Okay. So I'm going to share my secret with everybody as an architect. Okay. So as an architect, what we do is when clients come, we design solutions for them. We generally design 3 solutions. Yes, ma'am? Generally 3. Okay? One as what client wanted, one as what I wanted, and the second for rejection, or the third for rejection. 3 concepts we do. All right? Third for rejection. I mean, they look at it and they say, I don't want this here. I don't want to go in this direction. Right? So we are left with 2. So either the client, what they want, or what I want. Generally, what happens? No. What? We convince them that this is the best idea. This is good for you. All right? But of course, I mean, I'm just exaggerating the thing. But we generally do 3 ideas. Okay, so for example, even at your home, let us say you are decorating your home and etc. So you will say, okay, which design, A or B or C? You would not say A, B, C, D to Z, right? Okay. So I went to the design school. I did my master's from IIT Delhi. And there for one project, when the project was given, so I did these 3 projects, 3 solutions. I went to the professor as my trademark method, right? So one is as he wanted, one is as what I wanted, the other is for rejection. Okay? He looked at them and said, no, I need to see 200. What? 200 ideas? I mean, is it crazy or what? I mean, I thought professor was a little cuckoo, right? But then I kind of challenged myself, right? Okay, so is it possible to come up with 200 ideas? Is it, yeah, I know he's a IIT professor, he must be a great guy, but is it practical, right? I took it as a challenge and I experimented and I was able to generate 200 ideas. And that particular activity has opened up my own thought and also my friends' thoughts, my peers' thoughts. Hey, you have done 200, very good, right? So, apart from this, in fact, in the industry, what happens? So when I was working in Jaguar Land Rover, so we were to redesign the styling of iconic DC100. You all know Land Rover 100? Have you any car buffs here? Okay, yeah, the Land Rover 100. It looks so old and rugged and etc. And they have hardcore fans for buying the car and using the car. And changing little detail on the car is a big thing because there will be great, revolt back to the company saying, oh, this is not what we want. All the customers will say. For example, what has happened with Jaguar? Have you seen Jaguar new design? Yeah? Okay, and have you also read the comments? So this is what designers do because, see, everybody is going in a particular direction and if we feel, as per of the research, the scientific research, we feel that there can be something different, something better than what we are producing. We try to push that idea and naturally there will be a lot of negative comments, revolt, etc. happening as example of Jaguar. So with the Land Rover 100, what we have done is we have, I was part of the team, design team, advanced design team. And in the ideation stage, the design head, he invited designers from 20 different countries. One from Germany, one from Shanghai, one from US, California, Michigan, Germany, and Australia, and etc. And their job was to sit for 2 weeks and generate ideas, how the future Land Rover can look like. At the end, we have some 2,000, 3,000 ideas there. And our design head, he used to come and he used to go through them, understand and evaluate and etc. So all those 3,000 ideas have been boiled down to 10, 5, 3, 2, 1. And what you have seen in the video was the chosen one. And if you see the Land Rover vehicles coming out of production, you can see clues from that vision model what we have made. Right? So, generating 30 ideas, it may seem like a task that we cannot achieve, but with certain processes, we can definitely achieve that. Yes, sir. Defender, yes. Defender, yeah. All right, so we'll go next. And this is very important. So what are we looking at? When students are doing these various projects, what are we looking at? Number one is the fluency of ideas. Are they able to generate these ideas fluently? We are not expecting them to meditate under a Bodhi tree and then come up with ideas. It's not going to happen, okay? So we give a process. We just have to implement the process and be enthusiastic in executing it, okay? So we can get plenty of ideas. And more interestingly, the uniqueness of ideas. Are those 30 ideas unique or not? Okay? Uniqueness in the sense, let us say, okay, all pizzas are of what shape? Circle. Domino's is also circle. Pizza Hut also circle. The one you make at home is also circle. There is no uniqueness in it. Right? Have you ever eaten pizzas in Italy? They're square in shape. They're square in shape. That is uniqueness. Right? So that is what we are looking at, uniqueness of ideas, right? And the thought process. What is the thought process they have gone through? Is there a reason why they are doing it in a particular manner, etc., right? And then whether they have enjoyed what they have done or not. So these are the 4 parameters that we look for in your projects. And that will be our basis to evaluate how you have done and where your interest lies, what is your hidden talent and all of that, okay? So this is the schedule for all the 15 design disciplines. And as part of the design exploration program, we have 3 school visits. One is for BMS School of Architecture, scheduled for Wednesday, 23rd April, and the Strat School of Design on April 30th, and Pearl School of Design on May 7th. Okay, so we'll be giving you information of when to report, where to report, what to bring, all of that. You will get it through WhatsApp. And other activities happen at our regular centers as per the timings that is shared with you. Okay. And have you all got access to DQ Edge, all the students? Yes? If not, you will be getting access to that. Please reach out to your counselors. Okay, so this is where you get access to all the assignments that you'll be doing. All right, so it will be having certain material for you to as a reference, and also option to upload your work. All the work that you're doing will have to be uploaded on DQ Edge. Okay, and that will be compiled into a kind of a Canva document by yourself, which becomes your portfolio. Okay, next, and very importantly, we want you to use a black pen, not a pencil, a pen, A4 sheets, the Xerox sheets, and then the color pencils or pens. Okay? I know it is difficult for you to kind of move away from pencil and use pen, but it is all right. Okay? So initially you may find it difficult, but you will learn how to use the pen. One of the inhibitions is that when you're using a pencil, if you make a mistake, you can erase it off. Right? In a pen, you can't do it, which is good. Okay, so even if you get something wrong, you can draw the next area. Okay, you don't have to, you can scratch it off and draw in the next area, right? So this is one reason. And the other reason is scanning all this work and uploading on DQ Edge, right? If you do it with pencil, it'll be all light. You can't see anything. Okay, so it's important that you use a pen and draw. Okay, right. So these are some of the examples of previous DEP work. Now, these guys have never ever done something like this. And you also will be exploring. You would not have done anything like that. But if you follow what we have said, if you follow the process, then you can do fantastic work. That's the reason I said you can surprise your own self if you can follow the process what we are teaching you. All right? So these are all the fashion design explorations. In fact, the first exercise is for the fashion design. We'll be exploring that. Okay. Next. So how to come up with 30 different ideas? We have created this methodology. If you follow this methodology, for each of the design disciplines, you can come up with 30 different ideas very easily. Okay? C is for context, U for user, P for purpose, 5 themes, and 6 ideas. Okay? So we will explain you in detail, but to get you an overall understanding. So context. So depending on the context, the designs change. Depending on the user, the designs change. Depending on the purpose, the designs again change. So we define the context, user, and purpose. We freeze that, and then we get into 5 themes and 6 ideas. I'll give you a little overview of what it means. So basically, context means where do you see your design being used, okay, and the product placement. For example, where do you think this to be used? What is the context? It's a water bottle. The context is basically the work environment, right? Okay. A water bottle for sports purpose will be same? No. Okay, a bottle for space exploration will be same? No. So the context is important. So you got to understand where this product is going to be used. Okay. And then user. Who is a user? Whom do you think the user for this bottle is? A student of what age? 15, 16. All right. A water bottle for a 3-year-old. Can this be? It cannot be. Right? So depending on the user profile, user age, user limitations, the design changes. Okay? And purpose. Why the product exists? Hydration. Okay? So it can be for a different purpose as well. Storage of liquids. Yeah. So it can be, for example, you know about the alkaline water? Alkaline water or flavored water. What they do? In the regular water, they dip either a cut lemon or an orange or something like that. For that, this bottle works? No. Right? So the purpose. Even though it's for hydration, the purpose is different. Okay? So you got to consider the purpose as well. Next. So these are different bottle designs based on the context. Okay? So this can be used. Can you give applications for this bottle? Sorry? Add flavors, okay? Maybe this is like a refrigerator to be used in refrigerator, right? So we use this kind of bottles generally. And this one? Traveling, sports. So basically sports. Okay, this? For work, for professionals. I mean, you can just slide the water bottle next to your laptop and carry it with you. Like otherwise, it will be like the bag will be like blown up with a big bottle insert. And can you guess this bottle? What is the purpose? Yeah, they have designed this to carry wine to space. So look at the design of the bottle. Okay, how it functions and etc. is different, right? Okay, next. So we all know this is for the younger generation and this is for teenagers and office goers. So the design is just a simple bottle for hydration, but just see how the shape, the features, the colors, etc. change depending on the user, the context and the user. This is based on the user. Yes, next. All right, based on the purpose, hydration itself, but can you guess where this is used? Trekking. And what is the advantage of using this over this? Lightweight. Lightweight, space saving, absolutely. Okay, so you got to think in all these perspectives whenever you're coming up with a design. Okay, C is for context, U for P for purpose. All right, okay, next. So what we do is once we have the targeted audience in our mind, for example, I'm designing a bottle for a teenager, then I'll be looking for the inspiration. And how do I look for the inspiration is, okay, so there are many teens here. If you have to pick a bottle, would you all pick the same bottle? Buy the same bottle? No. Why? Because you have different aspirations. You have different likings, dislikings, etc., etc. So, next. So what we do is, say, we create a persona who is a teenager, and we look into their likes and dislikes. So basically, we work on the likes. Let us say a teenager likes, he is a foodie. He likes music. He likes sports. Okay, he likes nature. So each of those words becomes the themes. And based on the themes, they come up with ideas. All right? So, for example, here there is a chair which is inspired by turtle. This is a turtle. They have taken inspiration of a turtle and they have created a chair. All right? Next. And this can be visualized something like that. This is a turtle, idea by Nikita Rai Das. Yes, okay. So this is the chair that she has designed. So when we look into the chair, we'll say, okay, what is this? I mean, I don't know. I don't understand. But if you render it, it has the potential to be like a real product. Okay. Next. For example, taking puzzle this student has designed a piece of furniture. Okay, so can you show the next? So these are the blocks of foam which can be used, which can be combined together, taking like the puzzle shapes, right? Right? So this is how you can take certain objects based on the themes and take inspiration and create your designs. Okay, next. So another example, an avocado chair, and an avocado chair. All right, okay, next. So the school visits we'll be doing physical. There is no problem, no limitations. So we can go to an architecture school, a design school, a fashion school. As I said, we'll be sharing that information with you. And then we'll be having the personal interaction after all your 15 projects are done. We will be personally reviewing your work. Very important, we would like to see your hobby work as well. When you come for the meeting, please get your hobby work because we want to see what you have been doing in your free time. All right? And of course, we'll try to understand your perspectives and we'll identify the hidden talent and next course of action. And this is a sample certificate that we give for all the students who successfully complete the design exploration program. So in the insert, you can see your idea, and this is the idea developed by our team, and this is a certificate that we'll be giving you. Okay, it will be a nice memory for you to carry all through your life. Okay. Right, so this is not finalized yet, but we will be telling you when we'll be having the culmination or the convocation. So that day we'll be having a similar kind of event and we'll be giving out those certificates. All right. So that's okay, you can go back, right? So any doubts so far? What's the time? Okay. Yes, any questions or any doubts? Yes, can we have another mic, please? Can somebody pass on the mic? Oh, careful. Oh, spin your mic.
Hello, check.
Yeah, so you're passing on the mic.
Yeah, hi. Now that AI is taking over in many fields, so how is this field going to survive in the future?
All right, okay. So that I would like to answer with another question. Okay, survive means somebody has to pay them. Now, who is the people who are gonna pay the designers? Who will be paying the designers? Companies. All right. Why would companies pay for somebody? Because they are solving a problem for them. They're adding value, right? And if you take business, all right, there's a lot of competition, right? For example, Samsung versus Apple versus Xiaomi versus Motorola, etc., or the car companies, okay? They all fiercely compete on the pricing, okay? They all fiercely compete on the features that they are providing. But still, some companies are billion-dollar or trillion-dollar companies and some are not. What is making the difference for them? Unique designs. And how are these unique designs being produced? By understanding and empathizing with the needs and the tastes and the aspirations of the consumer. And who can do that? Only a designer can do that. So, as long as there are businesses in this world, there is need for designers. And how many businesses are there in this world? Thousands and lakhs of businesses are there, right? So for every business to survive, they need to bring in something unique, solving the people problems. So they would require designers. Okay, ma'am?
Hi, I just had a question on the
Yes.
structure of the
Yeah.
15
Yeah,
courses.
yeah.
How many of them would be, are there group elements involved or are all of them single?
No. There are certain activities they do it in group, like for example, stop motion animation, game design, right? Certain things they will do individually. So there's a mix. And even the stop motion animation, some students like to do individually. Some would like to do in a group. So we are flexible on that. All right?
Hi. First, thank you very much for a great presentation. You are very patient, and you
Thank
explained the
to all
concept.
of you because you have been very patient. I know, I can feel the heat in
No.
all of you.
No, you are solving people's needs because all of us came to understand that, and
Right,
you
right,
really
right.
did well.
Thank
There
you.
are two questions. One is on the lighter note. Second is on serious note. One is on the lighter note that my daughter wanted to understand. There is a logo that you use here for an animal here. Um, which animal is that?
That's a imaginary animal.
Okay.
It was envisioned by Sean. So
Okay,
I think
thanks.
Sean can help in understanding or deciphering what it is.
Okay.
Yeah.
So that's an imaginary animal,
It's
not
an imaginary
okay.
animal, yeah.
Second part, I could understand how your session is structured, and then 16th you are culminating. Say out of this, you are able to identify, say, my daughter is more geared towards industrial design. How do you prepare her for exams towards industrial engineering or,
Industrial design.
colleges and that sort?
Yeah.
How does that happen? I am more keen on that
Yeah.
understanding.
So there are two aspects for how the colleges identify and give admission. Okay, all the national schools, they have a common test. Unfortunately, whether a student is interested in industrial design or architecture or fashion design animation, they all have to take this common test for NID, UCEED, NIFT, and etc. Okay, and based on the exam, how well they perform in the exam, they will be given a rank, and based on the rank, they will be given the seat. That is for the all the national schools, like the government schools. Okay, this is not an ideal method, but that is how the system is at this point of time.
Understood.
Okay, so they have to be preparing for those competitive exams, and they give. That's number one. Number two, if you look at the private schools or the schools abroad, they are very curious to know what is your interest, what have you done in that field. Okay, have you done something over a period of time, or is it a last minute interest saying that, hey, I want to become an industrial designer? For them, we have to create a portfolio. They have to create a portfolio, and the portfolio would contain those pieces of work based on the area of their interest,
Understood.
right? So, so two things is happening, right? So number one, let us say they're interested in industrial design. They'll be getting more exposure towards the industrial design. They'll be building a portfolio for that. At the same time, parallelly, they'll be preparing for this national
Aptitude
design
test.
entrance exams,
Thank you.
right? Yeah, thank you so much. Yes, ma'am. Yeah, okay. Yeah, so probably we'll, okay.
Sir, we have planned vacation during that time, and my daughter will be missing around 4-5 sessions. So is there any way she can make up and,
Yes,
any backup? Yeah.
Yes. So she can do those exercises, but she needs to come on a Sunday,
Okay.
okay, at the respective center, and whatever she has missed, she can do them.
Okay.
Like
Yeah.
2 or 3 Sundays, she may have to come and finish it off.
Great. Yeah. Thank you.
Oh, school visit, is it? So we will be doing these school visits in the future as well. So if he has missed, then he can probably come during that time. All right? Yeah.
Should the student be well versed in drawing or fine? They pick it up with the
Right. So I wish I had that sketch with me. I don't have the sketch with me, but that's, if you look at that sketch, it seems like maybe a 3-year-old has drawn that sketch. All right? But that sketch has been transformed into a fantastic building that it's beyond our imagination. And that sketch was made by Frank Gehry, who is a very famous architect. Okay? So the general opinion of the people is that if they see, basically most of the people see the final product. Could be an illustration or could be a product sketching and etc. They see the final one and they see that, okay, I need to have such kind of a skill level. But what happens in the industry is we follow step-by-step method. The initial sketch that we do will always be very, very childish, immaturish. But then we start building on them. Okay? So the answer is that the sketching that we are looking at in the design career is called design sketching. It is not art. In the design sketching, everything that you do has a logical reasoning. If I draw a line here and draw another line here, there is a logical relationship between both of them. If you understand that logical relation, you can draw anything very nicely. So we had students who have got good skills and they got the opportunity to exercise these skills for a period of time and they come to us. We also have students who have drawn the last time using a pencil or a pen was in 4th grade. And till 11th grade, they did not get the opportunity to draw or exercise creativity. We have such students also. And we have set up a system, it's called, it's part of the coaching system, where within 2-3 classes, a student who has never drawn anything like interiors, exteriors, and etc., they'll be able to pick up and draw, visualize and draw very nicely. Okay? So what is very much important here is their ability to express without inhibition, the quality of the ideas, right? And their creative confidence. If they have these, we can teach the necessary skills. Okay, that is number one. Number two, thanks to AI, we can generate fantastic visualizations with prompts, word prompts, and sketches. Okay, so somebody who has great interest in going into the design field and good sketching skills, that is not a disadvantage. In fact, when I was working with Jaguar Land Rover, I had a colleague, he's a Britisher. We all used to sketch to show our ideas. He used to model the cars to show the ideas. And he was more faster than what we were doing. So in industry, it's a very different thing, all right? Yeah. So most of the design students, they explore Procreate or Photoshop. Okay, so the basics, fundamentals of Photoshop is given. And these tools are very easy to use, right? So from an exam point of view, the software is not required. Only for building the portfolio or creating a digital work, these tools will be helpful. All right. Once upon a time, there used to be a lot of emphasis on the software because it was very complex to learn, not enough videos, they're not user-friendly, etc., etc. But now, there are so many tutorials on the websites and YouTube and etc. It is and the UI is also very easy. The usability is also very easy to kind of learn them quickly. Okay. So we expose them to basically Photoshop, Illustrator, and a 3D tool like Blender. Okay, but not too much emphasis is not given on that. If we are able to draw something on paper, then digitizing it is very easy, if you know the concepts. Right? Yes, ma'am.
With the summer exploration program, will the child be also being able to identify if he is really interested in architecture and
Yes.
design?
Yes,
Because
yes,
as
yes.
parents, we know that if you only pick design, the opportunities are limited. So we try to push the student to say, you take a bigger spectrum, that way you are, because of the limited number of schools and colleges.
Right. Okay, so the question is that when they are doing the design exploration program, would they be able to identify which design discipline that they'll be going, like architecture or design or maybe fashion, right? One, yeah.
Architecture and design.
Yeah, between architecture and design, where they're more inclined, okay? And I'm happy to know that you're limiting his options within the creative field, architecture, design, fashion, not medical and engineering and CA and all that. Because to be very honest, see what has happened, see we have been mentoring students since 2006, right? It's been quite a number of years. Initially, the kind of students who used to come to us were like, okay, I don't want to do that, so I'm going to do this. Like, I don't want to do medical, I don't want to do engineering, so the other option is design, okay? But now if you see the kind of students who are coming in, they are cent percentilers in the 10th. Okay, and they know what they want to do. If given an opportunity, they will excel in medical field, they will excel in engineering field also. Okay, so the quality of the students and the intellectual capacity of the students have been tremendously been improved. That's number one. And that brought in another problem also. Like as parents, we all have the FOMO, right? Okay, my child is brilliant, okay, and he is saying that he wants to go into design. I mean, what is this? He can become a doctor or an engineer, right? Okay, why design? But you got to understand, and then what they do is, they'll say, okay, Kanna, you do design, go to DQ Labs, but also go to Ellen. Also go to Byju's. Also do this, also do this, right? So I like to basically help you understand and caution that within the field of creative field, there are many good options. Okay, plan B need not be engineering or medical. Plan B can be, if not for design, can be architecture, can be fashion. All right? And in case you, because of the fear of missing out, you encourage your child to also do engineering preparation, also medical preparation, what we have seen in the past is that they will be under a lot of stress and pressure, and what we have seen is they could not do well in both the cases. Okay, so that's the reason I'm happy that you're looking among the architecture, fashion design areas. All right.
So,
Yes, ma'am.
continuation to that question.
Yes,
Here.
yes.
So my daughter wants to get into fashion.
Yes.
You mentioned that kids come with, a particular thing that I want to design a shoe, but you enable them to look at other things.
Yes.
How do you do that first? Because she is very, very clear that she wants to get into fashion.
Right.
I want her to explore
Other design
whatever
disciplines
is
also,
there.
of course.
So what is your, while she's very clear, I want her to be open to other things.
It's very
also.
important, yes.
So what is your process of doing that? How do you enable in this deep program?
So, multiple things are. Yes, yes, please. Yeah, can we pass on the mic? Yeah. Would you like? Shall I repeat? All right. So, so what is her concern is that okay, her child is interested in fashion design, and she's very passionate about fashion design, and she wants to go into that only. But her mom wants to give wider exposure to the child, and she's asking how do we enable it in this particular program. Okay, so it's actually quite an effort from our side to kind of help them open up their minds, because they come up with very rigid thought process. Okay, they're not able to see beyond. Okay, so that is the reason. Number one is we encourage them to do all the exercises. Okay, explore all the exercises, number one. And then when we take them to an architecture school, a fashion school, a design school, then they actually see what is difference, what is common, right? And we'll also be having, the mentors of this program are the designers and architects, the fashion designers, architects, and etc. So when they are interacting with these kids, okay, that is also an opportunity for us to kind of open up their mind. The third is the documentaries that we are recommending them to watch. So these documentaries are on Netflix and also on YouTube. It's called Abstract, right? So they have nicely documented the day in the life of a designer, what challenges that they solve, how they live, and etc., etc. And then they will see that, okay, there's not much difference. I mean, you're passionate about fashion, that is very nice, okay? But you would be surprised to see that fashion designers get into the automotive industry and they contribute there. In fact, they style the entire body of the car. Architects, they go into fashion design, right? So at a certain stage, it becomes like you can dabble into anything and contribute. Ultimately, what is required is your contribution, right? Yeah.
I just want to add to that question. In fact, there was an older student from here who got into NIFT Bangalore. After NIFT Bangalore, she got 100% scholarship in RCA London for her master's in fashion. And she happened to get a project for NASA on materials. What kind of materials is that after they come back from space, they wear certain kind of suit, suit to acclimatize back in that, and that has certain materials. So she did a study on that with NASA. She's from Bangalore. In fact, I had met her last evening, and I wanted her to talk to the students as well. So she's from NIFT Bangalore, did a small project with NASA, and presently working with Jaguar Land Rover for in the Department of Color and Trim. So just to tell you that it's a lot more than what you think, and the connection between, the interconnection between different areas of design.
During this program, they'll automatically understand what it is, and they'll connect the dots to see what connect the dots between all these and then decide accordingly.
So the question is, during this program, will they be able to see? See, this program is for 3 weeks, right? There are multiple levels of introduction. So what I was talking about is a very advanced level. Yes, we will give them samples. In fact, this is Neha. She is an ex-student of DQ Labs. She got a very high rank. She got into IIT Bombay. She was studying in IIT Bombay. In fact, we share a typical story. She's an engineer from VIT and was very, very good at design. In fact, I can show you her work. Even I'm also an engineer, like typically, okay, do your engineering first and then we'll see later, right? But she is into illustration design, done a lot of gaming work for companies abroad. So she was here in Bangalore. She came yesterday, said, please come, also meet them. So what I'm trying to say is we will meet a lot of designers like her, designers like Joanne, who did that kind of work. And it's a sampling, right? So you plant these seeds, and then from here, at least they will know what direction to look for, what direction to search. So will we be able to cover all of it? It will be very difficult in 3 weeks, but this, like I said, these are in layers. So this is, you can consider this like a deep dive career counseling, very specific to the area of design, and not just for the student, more importantly for the parents, because there's a lot of apprehension. In fact, that's what I said, career counseling is for the parents, not for the students, right? Especially for the area of design. Because they need the support, right? Yeah. So Neha, if you could just introduce yourself and what work you've done in gaming and film and things like that.
All right. Hey, I am Neha Rastogi. I finished my master's from IIT Bombay in animation design in 2022. So I did my bachelor's from 2016 to 20 in VIT. And all throughout, I was drawing and designing and interning, drawing at the back of the classroom. So I kind of knew that what I wanted to do would be in the field of design, but I wasn't sure in which direction. And that's where something like coaching, in fact, since I was going for a master's, I needed a bachelor's foundation. So a bridging course for which, I looked towards like these coaching programs so that I would get a taste of everything, be able to sample everything that's done in a bachelor's, and be able to understand which niche I want to go into. So all of that was done over here at DQ Labs for me. And that too when I was remotely studying at my bachelor's college. So after entering animation, I would like to connect the dots to the question that was just now asked. I was very hooked on animation because I used to see all the, I had this kida of filmmaking, and I used to see Disney movies, Pixar movies. I used to see those beautiful drawings and paintings and used to think that is the only industry I want to get into, and I want to make social documentaries, create a change, something like that. And sometimes my parents would also get very worried about this is not sounding like something that exists, something that's real. But for the first time, when I spoke to instructors that were from the industry while I was trying to learn, in depth my art, the instructors that I was speaking to, they were from an industry where their job was called concept art. They were working for games, they were working for movies, they were working for amusement parks. These are things and lines that I did not even know existed because I was only focused, only so much is visible to us. But when you speak to real people, that where you see how their real careers pan out. I saw that this person is sitting in the US or even sitting in Bangladesh, and he's working from the skills that he has learned of concept art. He is able to cater services to the game industry, able to cater services to the animation, to films, and to amusement parks. And what is required is for him to have this portfolio of a certain style, like a stylized style or a realistic style. So careers, it's not what I thought at all what it was. Like, somebody might be interested in fashion, but when you see a certain person, you see their lifestyle, and you see what it takes to get there, you're able to put it all together. So just being able to see what a real career is like out there in the world, if you even want to live that way, if you want those things in your daily life, that will help you put the pieces together more than anything. So I started doing my concept art, I finished my portfolio, and since then, because of those instructors that I saw, I stayed in touch with everybody. I built a good network throughout global, in Canada, in Bangladesh, in India as well. I was able to get contracts with international gaming companies, and even in India, I worked on Ramayan. That's a film that's being made right now in DNEG. So I was able to get contracts just the way I saw my instructors getting. I saw what they were charging. I saw how hard they worked or how they needed to balance their time. And so for the last 3 or 4 years, I've been working with international companies doing contracts. I can take on one at a time, or I can take on many if I want, if I want to hustle more at that point of time. And at the same time, the most important thing I learned was just showing your work and putting your work out there on the internet. And through that, even more has come. Like, I've been able to coach juniors, form a community of juniors, and teach them what I know. So just saying that exposure to real people who are doing these careers will show a child more than anything else. And personally also, just because I saw what people were doing, I've been able to create all that in my life by referencing that. And it's been very fulfilling.
In fact, this is her old portfolio when she was here 6 years ago, whatever. Yeah, so this is some of the work that she had done, some of the concept art that she had done, a lot of storyboarding, and a lot of amazing work. Just to show you, I mean, of course, this is very, very extensive work, which she took, I think, a whole year off or something like that, a year and a half. But just to show you a very advanced level portfolio. Things like that. And, some of her work that she has basically on social media. Anyway, but bottom line is students will be meeting a lot of, senior students, designers from the industry, and to at least tell them that, all this is possible, and the areas that they can start looking into, areas that possibly they do not know exist. Any other? Yeah. Okay, I'll repeat the question. So the question here is how much of technical knowledge that you require, okay? I'll give you an example. Let's say, what do you say, the car industry, okay? So we are designers, say, for the car industry, you're designing exteriors, interiors. Do you need to be an automobile engineer? No. Do you need to know things about engineering? Absolutely not. You work with the engineers. Right? We work together. They will give you basic criteria. Of course, you do know basic criteria. You're working with a sedan, with a hatchback, basic things like that. But you're just working from a very, very creative point of view, and you're constantly working with engineers, and you're working together, right? And in fact, same thing similarly with software. Do you know software programming? No. We work on front end. We work on the very creative side. Yes, we do know software related to us, like Figma and things like that. That helps us is design software. For example, in the automotive industry, there are two kinds of software. Alias, where we do free freestyle skin. It's called the skin. It's called you're looking at the car external skin, the A surface, B surface. So A surface is very aesthetic, and that's what we look at, whether it is interiors or exteriors. But it is all software related to design. So we really don't go technical. Now also, I'll give you another industry, say medical industry, right? Where we have designers working for Johnson & Johnson, right? And many of them, while they are doing certain designs, they also, they interview doctors, talk to doctors. Some of them attend surgical procedures, orthopedic procedures, dental procedures, and it's more like a study. But, and sometimes what happens is, when we do a certain project, we just study for that project what we need to know. We ask the experts their opinion, and we give it, we solve the problem more from an ergonomic point of view and from a user point of view. Right. Yes.
Spoil their career. They will not be studying and all. So as a parent, it becomes difficult for me whether I should allow him to do or does not allow him to do.
Yeah, so what happens is we tend to look at things at the very, understandably, like the moment we see children with screen time, or too much of games, over the years we have developed a very kind of negative attitude towards it. But if you look at the positive side, like, if a student is really good at games, understands games, the level of games, the type of games, and more importantly, understands the concept of gamification. Now, gamification is different, games are different. You understand, right? Now, gamification is small kind of positive, they're giving you a little bit, whatever you're doing, it's giving you a positive feedback to do more. In fact, gamification is being broken down and used possibly everywhere. It's even being used in education, where the more you study, the more points you get, the more higher level you go, the more you're able to answer some GK questions. Or let's say, for example, even if you're shopping for something, it says you add this little more and you get extra points, and you get free this and free that. So it's kind of tending you towards a gamified way of doing things. And gamification is being broken down and being added to all areas of apps and software and things like that, encouraging people, giving them a more positive reinforcement to do things. So there are depends on how you look at it, right? Even games are very complex. You can use games for, let's say, training, for skill development, education, and things like that. In fact, gamification is a huge area for huge potential of growth. And anything, software related has a lot of investment, a lot of companies that want to develop, and a lot of demand out there. You get what I'm saying, right? So she would like to add to it. She's got her hands into games and gamification. Is there something you'd like to add? You can add.
So I've given at least 20 interviews in different companies for the last 3 or 4 years. And the question that will actually get you qualified, and the answer, they will always ask you, what games have you played? Do you play games? Do you play games extensively? And that will be a trick question. I realized in the beginning, I did not play games. And in fact, I had the same concern at that point of time, that I don't actually I don't want to get addicted to this. I think this is sort of a negative, is having a negative impact on people. I don't want the generation to get more violent. So in overall, I was viewing games in a pretty negative light. But as soon as I started getting into the industry, because I wanted to design for it, and the fact that if somebody can design good characters and good environments in games, in the age of AI, if that is their strength, then they're going to do very well, because they will be the people that are needed in the industry. They need to be watching games, playing games, and if they understand that, then they will do very, very well in interviews. And so you need to know the product that you are designing for, right? If I don't watch films, I will probably not get hired in films, because they will not trust me if this person actually knows what they're doing. So in every game company I have gone into, they are very, very happy if you say that you play a lot of games or if you're deeply involved, because you will be able to understand the nuance and design better for those industries. So it's a very positive thing if he does that.
You won't believe it. We are developing a couple of games for DQ Labs in terms of, especially I'm trying to merge gamification and general knowledge to learn. Because see, there are two types of logical kind of learning and only repetitive kind of learning. Like, oh, you just have to memorize those dates over and over again. And gamification and quizzes are a very good way of doing it. I'm actually, for the last 1 year, I'm actually looking at different games. I'm talking to kids. I'm talking to kids, what games you all are playing. I'm downloading the games and playing them myself. Because I myself want to experience those games and see, okay, what is it that they're getting so hooked on to? And what of it that you can take out in a positive way? So there's a different way to look at it, and I think gamification, in my personal opinion, gamification is huge. In fact, if my son is interested in gamification, I would be happy. Right? I'll be like, wow, okay, this is the area to be, Yeah. Professionally.
So I like that lemon squeezer thing. So I was just looking at that thing and found a little bit alienish structure that the gentleman there kind of 20,000 rupees payment. So my question is, what tools do you give to break the standard pattern of thinking? Because right now, whenever even I'm a product manager, when I interview people, I try to look for that absolutely crazy way of thinking about the same product. I'm into fleet safety management. So the way they kind of approach the trucks or the cars or whatever, how do they think is extremely important for me. So I just wanted to share your perspective on how do you take a person and the standardized way of a ball is a round ball. Do you have a square ball or do you have a triangular ball kind of a thing? And what are the dynamics behind that, or even a hexagonal ball? Right. So how do you break the person's standard way of thinking? I would like to hear you on that.
Right. So thank you for that question. So you'll be surprised to know that designers have design methodologies. We use these methodologies to come up with various crazy ideas. And there are some standard methodologies, and there are methodologies you can create on your own. Right? Okay. So I remember my professor telling, all right, so he said, okay, you have to create something very interesting. One methodology is you break it, you pick up all the pieces and rearrange them. You get to something completely different. Nobody would have ever thought about it, right? So design methodologies is a very important aspect that is taught in the school. And we use these design methodologies as required. For example, to get certain kind of outcomes, we use certain design methodologies. So if they are proficient in using these design methodologies, they can come up with these all out of the world kind of ideas. It is definitely not like what all the people think. It is definitely not like taking a cold shower or a hot shower and then you get an idea, or maybe you sit under a bodhi tree and you get an idea. No, right? So it is orchestrated. It is not natural. It is orchestrated. All right? Yeah.
Oh, okay. Just to close to that, one is there's a methodology itself. There's a design methodology in which we follow a few steps, and in between there are a lot of small exercises. There are many exercises that help you even break off from the regular way of thinking and from your fixed way of thinking. Simple exercise I gave was that different uses for a pencil, but like that there are multiple other exercises that you can do, and it helps open up the mind. Just to answer, but we can go through it in detail here. Just before we continue, if
Yeah, I'm so sorry to interrupt. A few parents had to leave. So just two small announcements. One thing is you also please when you go collect it. Another thing is we've got this thing. Any guesses what this could be? Okay, I think you heard me say that. But okay, so. Oh, okay, got it. Yeah, so this is a pen. 1 second, I can just show you all. So you can just twist it and open it, and then open it further. So it's supposed to be ergonomically better. And also it can be used as a loop. You can put it in your bag, put it in your keychain. So this is just a small memento from our side for all of you here. Thank you so much for coming today. And if you have any questions about the program or anything for Umesh sir and Sean sir, please feel free to stay back. Yeah, sure.
Right, so the question is studying in Indian schools and studying in abroad schools. Would you like to add? Sure.
First of all, they are, they are, I would say, yes, once upon a time there was a big difference. Possibly 10 years ago, 15 years ago, design in schools abroad was better, I would say. But things have caught up a lot, and of course, with the internet, the exercises we do are the same, the output is the same. A lot of design faculty are getting paid much better. So therefore, so what that means is even senior people from the industry are going and teaching nowadays because of passion, because of good pay. So there's good faculty, good infrastructure. Lot of heavy investment in design schools. For example, you can see all your traditional engineering schools, RV, Manipal has taken over Shrishti, PESET, Jain, CMR, all opening design centers because of the demand for design. So answer is, you can study in India and get a good quality education itself. You will come to know, let's say, for example, basic departments, industrial design, communication design, great. But let's say, for example, if you want to do something very specialized, let's say somebody wants to go into gamification or very, very specialized subsets of design, few colleges that offer, maybe say an NID and all offers, in such cases, it might be okay to go abroad, right? Going abroad, again, it's also a matter of cost. Going abroad, India also is becoming expensive. An average fee is 6 lakhs per year, 6 fours are 24. If you go to Singapore and all, it's quite reasonable. But see, you have to consider not just cost, even your stay. So it also depends on that. My personal opinion would be, especially a good combination would be undergraduation, do it in India, and post-graduation you can do abroad. You know, that sort of a combination is good. But yes, there are other factors also maybe Umesh would like to add.
Right, so the quality of education has definitely been equaled abroad in India. So if a student is going abroad, few advantages is, number one, the networking opportunities that they get with the alumni, with the professors and etc. Because these are the guys who go back to the industry and they take the students and go back to the industry, right? So that way they get more opportunities. That is number one. Number two is the culture, okay, and the kind of work that is happening. Okay, so if you see the kind of design work that is happening in India comparatively that is happening abroad, okay, here probably certain industries is catching up. Like for example, automotive design. There's plenty of work that is happening in automotive design here in India, right? If you see the kind of culture that is there in the US, especially the US, right? So they are not afraid to give opportunity to the youngsters who have a brilliant idea and who can get things done. But here, there's a limitation on that. That's my personal opinion, all right? So that's number one. And number two is, if you go to some select schools, like for example, College of Arts, California, okay, Arts Center, California, all right? The kind of students that they attract there from all over the world. If you go to NID or IIT, you get mostly the Indian students there. But if you go to school like that, you have students, the best of the best students from all across the world. And those will be your peers with whom you're working, whom you're collaborating and etc. So it gives exposure at a different level, right? Even though the technology, the education, the methodologies, they could be common, but these are the additional advantages that they get, right? What they learn ultimately is, number one, to empathize with the people. Number two, the tools that they are using and the methodologies and the processes. So it's almost the same. Probably the way that they think is a little different, okay? For example, the kind of interior design work that is happening in NID, let us say, compare with the kind of interior design work happening there, the use of materials, the context, etc., is completely different. Right? So those are the advantages. And that too I'm suggesting to study or pick some select schools, not every other school. Right? So Arts Center is one of my favorites.
This is supposed to be for 2 hours. If any parents would like to leave, please, you all can, because it's over. It's only those who have questions would like to stay back. You can answer your questions. But if you all would like to leave, not a problem, okay? Because many of these questions will be answered anyway throughout the whole 3 weeks. Okay. Anybody else has any questions, you can ask. Most welcome. Yeah.
So for 11th and 12th, is it okay to prepare for design and architecture together, or it will be overwhelming for them? They can definitely prepare for design and architecture. Let us say 60% of the content is almost the same that they are learning. Application-wise, it will be different. The kind of questions that they ask, the way that they test will be different. But the content that they prepare is almost the same.
Should be manageable.
Yeah, absolutely manageable. Yeah. Yes. Yes. Okay.
Registration details for the course.
Shyam will help you with that. Okay, so Shyam. So Shyam will help you in registering. All right. Yeah, he's there. I'll just inform him as well. All right. Okay.
Yes, thank you, everyone. Let's just come have some. Please pick up something. There's something to eat. Yeah. Okay.